primary prayer request is just the key team members. We have to add a couple of key individuals that are very, very strategic. One of those is we need to hire a coach recruitment expert. So our coaching team is broken down into 4 primary areas and categories: coach recruitment, training, coach care, and quality control. And the one area that we really need an outside thinker is in that recruitment space. And so we're actively going after that. And actually, I'm interviewing somebody right now as we explore how that looks. So those are some of the things that are going on. I'm so encouraged, and I'm so thankful for all of you and so many other friends that are saying, hey, let's go after the lost and see God do some amazing things in our nation over the next couple of years.
Yeah, so amen. Hey, Sean, I know that we're running at as a collective group 1 million decisions, and then you throw out a number like 5 million. Does that excite you, or does that feel daunting? And then, of course, as you've shared, a couple of key team members. It's not a big scale of an organization. A couple of key team members and cash flow. Does that excite you? Make you nervous? Putting more trust in the Lord? Kind of where are you at with that thinking of not just a mission to 1 million, but maybe 5 or 10 million?
Yeah, it's first of all, Hilda, Jeff Abbott just asked a question about recruitment of Spanish coaches. Would you mind on the chat answering him, since you run the Spanish coaching team? Sorry, my eye itches there. At first, 5-6 months ago, I was intimidated by those numbers. And I know that they cannot happen apart from God's blessing. I know that we are 100% reliant on him. We're not smart enough to even build what God's built so far. So how are we going to keep building it? But I'm really excited, and really because of some of the things that are coming together, because of some of the collaborations and the ministry opportunities that are coming together that I can't share about yet. I'm really excited about those opportunities and thrilled to see what God's going to do. And what, Steve, you asked the second part of a question, and I forgot what that was.
Well, just the idea of, you answered it, which is just what's on your heart. Did it excite you, scare you? We're running at 1 million, but we just have to put our faith in the Lord. I've shared collectively as a group, my family motto is, with my kids and our family for 16 years now, is we do our best and let God do the rest. If we feel called and we're doing what God has called us to do, he wants us to succeed, and it's for his glory.
Yeah. God opens doors and he moves mountains at his time, at his pace, for the and when you're ready. And a lot of times I do believe that sometimes God waits for you, to be ready. And so we're taking that very, very seriously here, and our board is as well. So
even if we're not ready, we got to go for it. If we see a lane. That's awesome. Hey, Sean, I know that on this call, we were also going to have Vern and Brian both speak into some unique ways that we're seeing and learning about how people have been involved, whether it be financially or in financial support with Groundwire, but also just in the landscape of stewardship and philanthropy. Vern, let me invite you in here, because I know that you've rolled up your sleeves quite a bit this last maybe 6-8 months over the last year as a part of the development task force team. And you've learned some things about the CARES Act and some different things in stewardship.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Well, again, I don't know how much any of you know about the CARES Act, but it's been extended through 12/31 of this year, and then it absolutely goes away. And it's, I like to refer to it as really a once in a lifetime opportunity, because I've never seen it before. And in essence, there's 100% federal tax deduction for your income. So if you give all of your income away this year, you get a tax deduction. You're usually capped at 60%. So, I mean, you can donate as much of your income as you want and pay no federal tax, but there's some real unique things that you can do with that. I mean, I think all of you know, with our IRAs or our pensions or our 401ks or our defined benefit plans, that money goes in pre-tax. It goes in without paying any tax on it. It sits in those accounts and it grows tax-free, so that if and when the time comes that we need to tap into that money, we take it out, but we pay tax on it at that time. Well, just imagine this. So you've been putting money into your retirement account for years, and maybe by the grace of God and his incredible blessing, you don't really need that money. You have other investments. God's blessed you in other ways. But now, if you take that money out, you're going to pay tax on it. And if you get to, I think it's 71 and a half is about the right age, Brian would know, then you have to take it out. They're called required minimum distributions. and the government will get its tax. Well, just think about this. This year, you could go in and take out any amount out of your IRA, any amount that you want, $1, $1 million, it doesn't matter. You could take that same exact money and donate it to the things that you care about, even putting a portion of it into a donor advised fund to be determined later as to where it goes, and receive 100% tax deduction. So literally, for the first time in the history of retirement accounts, goes in tax-free, grows tax-free, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take it out tax-free. But you can also do that. You can do that if you have stock options. I mean, everybody, the stock options is kind of a woo word, and they think it's the greatest thing in the world. But in reality, for 99.9% of the people who exercise a stock option, all they're doing is creating ordinary income. So you can imagine if you had a stock option that produced $1 million in income to you, you're going to pay more than 50% of that in tax, because all it is you buy it one day and sell the same day. Short-term capital gains, guess what? That's ordinary income. So yeah, they're great, but how'd you like to be a young man who exercises $1 million in stock options and walks away with a little less than $500,000? That's going to feel a little unrewarding, I think. Well, now you use that as a tool to donate. You can even do it in such a way that you have a portion to cover your estate taxes, and you get to keep a little. So these are things that we have never seen before, and we will likely never see again. You can do the same thing with real estate. Imagine if you sold a piece of real estate in any other tax year, you can only realize the gain. I hope I'm not getting too technical there. You can only realize the gain up to 30% of your adjusted gross income. Whatever you can't use doesn't get lost, rolls forward, but you have to use it within 5 years. Well, this year you can don't even donate it, sell it, pay all the expenses, look at your gain at the end, take your original investment. So you bought an apartment building for $500,000. You sell it for $2.2 million, you net $2 million. Well, guess what? Take that $500,000, slide it back in your pocket. That's yours. That's not a gain. Pay your expenses, $200,000, donate the $1.5 million, pay zero tax. Anyway, as you can tell,
there's a lot of ways that we can unpack this and tackle it. I know you're available on behalf of Groundwire to do so.
Yes,
but here at the end of the day, this is the question that I want to challenge each of you to be thinking about. Pay taxes, give more. Once you answer that question, now it's just tactics. Pay taxes, give more. Now it's just.
As Steve said, as you can tell, I get a little excited about this.
Vern, why don't you put your email and your mobile number in the chat, and anybody that wants to reach out to you, they can.
Yeah,
Brian, I know that you've got some things that you want to share on kind of the assessment process and stewardship as couples and families. Kind of, if you would, speak into as your leadership on behalf of Groundwire and the board.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Sean. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all well. So just to kind of go back a little bit, I'm the current president of Ronald Blue Trust out of Atlanta. Been very engaged with Groundwire for the last several years. And, for those of you who don't know about our firm, we're for 40 years been focused on coming alongside Christians who have a heart for really two main things. The first is they want to be good stewards of the wealth God's entrusted to them in a way that's honoring to Him and is impactful for the kingdom. And then secondly, they tend to be really generous. And it's a blessing and a privilege to serve these kinds of families. But typically they're already engaged in kingdom work and in releasing dollars in that direction. And what we find when we come alongside them is that there's some opportunities to optimize and maximize what's going on there. And that's the heartbeat of our firm, to free Christians financially for greater fulfillment of the Great Commission. So a lot of alignment here. I'll just kind of put a quick caveat, asterisk. The giving assessment that we're offering to Groundwire is not a marketing ploy for the firm. No client relationships are expected to come out of it. It's simply a gift to Groundwire and their donors. And here's how it would be intended to work. That we would set up an easy way for any donor for free that would want basically a quick checkup on their current charitable approach and strategies to submit some information and agree to a discovery call with us. And then we'll digest that and circle back with a follow-up call to say, hey, we've looked at your areas. We've drawn on 40 years of expertise in charitable giving strategies alongside Christians with Wealth, and come back and make some recommendations. That very well may be a double thumbs up. You're in great shape. Keep it going. Be encouraged. We'll pray for you. And you're already maximizing. Generally, there's room for improvement. And we're just happy to kind of come alongside and serve and bless in that way. And we'll do it completely free to any Groundwire donor that has a need for it or an interest in engaging. We're going to kick this off in the next few weeks, and really with a height to leverage a lot of what Vern just mentioned. There's a window of significant opportunity here between now and year end. And we just want to be available and engaged with as many folks that would make sense. Sean, anything else you want me to share there?
No, I just want to appreciate Brian and Vern for both being willing to try and support our friends in these things. I know that everybody that supports us has a heart for kingdom work, whether we're one of the top three or we're just one of the ones that on occasion you give to. But the things that I appreciate is that their heart is really that your heart would be maximized, that your desire to move forward and be as strategic as you can in this season would be leveraged. And so Brian and Vern, you can either reach out to me if you're interested, or you can reach out to them directly. And we're willing to help. I think it would be a great service to many people that are partners with us to be able to really look and say, hey, is there a more strategic way that I could actually engage my generosity heart?
Yeah, and let me add there that, Vern, I know that when you have conversations with folks, or Brian, anyone on your team, that's between whoever is conversing with you. It's not to be shared back with Groundwire. It's to serve people that care about the mission of Groundwire is a one-on-one. And so that information that's shared is confidential and private between you all.
Yeah, it's 100% confidential and it's 100% free. There's no, as Brian said, we're not trying to build a client list. We're not pursuing you for any business. I'm just a volunteer.
Well, we've got 100,000 decisions down. We're over that benchmark, but we're running at between now and end of the year, another 100,000. It's going to take prayer, coaches, financial support to achieve it. This last spring, a lot of social dilemma events in different areas. Bart, you and I together in Tampa, Sean virtually, John the same with Houston, Southern California, Dan and Doug Meese, we were all together in Southern California. We were in Atlanta. We've got some events coming up in Dallas. We've got October 5th in Dallas. We're doing a social dilemma event. We've got some other things that are getting built out on the calendar. We've got a golf outing with a group of some folks in Atlanta at the end of September. Sean, you're going to be speaking at Ignite with the Barnabas Group early October, which is an exciting opportunity. And you've got a full calendar, but we want to continue to create lanes and ways for people that we all know within our respective networks as a way to introduce something that we're all excited about, which is the mission to realize 200,000 decisions this calendar year. And Groundwire and Jesus Cares in this campaign is the conduit that I believe is the one that's able to achieve it. So Sean, any closing comments from you before we wrap up?
No, I do have an extra half hour if people want to stick around and we want to dialogue or converse about anything. You have questions or whatever, happy to do that. But no, I mean, I just appreciate so much the network, the team that God's brought around us, both the paid staff, the volunteers, the intercessors, the coaches, as well as those people who are funding this opportunity to reach as many people as possible. So, and celebrate 100,000. Just continue to let that hit your heart. Bart Azzarelli, I know that you care about evangelism. So, and I haven't seen you smile all day, so I don't know what the deal is. But maybe your beard is hiding. I'm not used to seeing you with a beard. But anyway, I'm so grateful. So thank you, everybody.
Hey, Sean, could you do a quick 30-second recap? Some of us are working and jumping in and out of the call. If you could just give, like a good sermon, you need to kind of bring it to a close here.
Yeah, we talked 100,000 commitments to Christ on Monday. We're on a sprint to get to 200,000 by the end of the year. We're on track for 150 to 160, but just anticipating that there's going to be some potential funding. People are going to step in and say, "Hey, I want to own 5,000 or 10,000 of those last 40 that we need to hit." Main area of growth for us has to be our coaching team. Our board, we took some time and prayed in our last board meeting, and the word that kept coming back to everybody was that's the priority. So we feel like God's saying, prepare for even greater things. We're making bigger plans to go after even more people, ridiculous numbers, as if 100,000, 200,000 isn't big enough. But there's some great partnerships coming online saying, let's help you. We want to help you grow not 50% annually, but 500% annually. And so some exciting things going on that way. Is that good enough, Dan?
That was pretty good.
Lord, thank you for Sean, this group. We just are so grateful to be in friendship, fellowship, and on mission together. We lift this up to you in Christ's name, amen. Sean, you'll be able to stay on for a little bit for some questions. Anybody that needs to drop, do. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Who's got a curveball for Sean?
Well, let me address the Ron Henry question here about marketplace chaplains. It's interesting. Even this week, I have been talking to corporate chaplains, and they're a couple of their leadership team has gone through our training, and they are online volunteers, and they're saying that they're going to be able to get us. Their goal is to get us at least 24 new coaches by the end of the month of September. So my relationship with marketplace chaplains, Ron, isn't as strong and deep and diverse. And so, but I mean, I'm very open if you think that something similar might work there.
Yeah, we have about 1,800 chaplains serving now in the United States, but they're all part-time.
Yep.
Other than about 50 of them, and so their time, their heart is for loving on people and caring on people. So they have margins in their life. So I don't know. I mean, I have access to the powers to be to have that discussion. So, and we're growing so fast now because the cares and needs of people out there. We have 200 openings right now from part-time chaplains. So it's an exponential growth of people trying to address the mental health issues. That's what, which corresponds to the same parallels of people reaching out and for hope.
Yep.
They're lost. So this is a lot of momentum here. I just, my heart is we don't try to do it in silos. We try to do it together.
Yep. Agreed.
Sean, I need to sign off unless anybody has a question related to the CARES Act before I go. If not, my contact information is in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you, Vern.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys. Be blessed.
Doing amazing stuff, Sean. Always amazing. Always blessed to be here.
Recording stopped.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. And again, appreciate all that everybody does. Jeff, thanks for inviting me into speaking to your Barnabas group a couple weeks ago. That was
amazing. Thank you for being
although
there.
Your friend that I thought was going to follow up with me hasn't responded to me.
Keep hammering.